Did the translators intend their translation to be used exclusively, or would they advocate for a multitude of translations or continuing translation work? What were they setting out to do? What was their goal? That out of the original sacred tongues, together with the comparing of the labors, both in our own and in other foreign languages, of many worthy men who went before us, there should be one more exact translation of the Holy Scriptures into the English tongue. One translation that would be somewhat of a capstone translation, that would take all the labors that had gone before them and kind of be a completion or a pinnacle of all this translation work. There's another statement kind of from the end of the preface. Truly good Christian reader, we never thought from the beginning that we should need to make a new translation, nor yet to make of a bad one a good one, but to make a good one better. Or out of many good ones, one principal good one, not justly to be accepted against. They wanted one that nobody could throw rocks at. That we do not deny, nay, we affirm and avow that the very meanest translation of the Bible in English, set forth by men of our profession, for we have seen none of theirs of the whole Bible as of yet, again, another jab at the Catholics, containeth the Word of God, nay, is the Word of God. This is one that's quite often hurled at King James advocates, to say that, well, the translators thought that all of the other translations contain the Word of God, were the Word of God. Therefore, they would have used them, supported them. I don't think that's a fair statement at all. It's a very qualified statement that they say. They say that the very meanest translation of the Bible in English, set forth by men of our profession. That's a pretty specific statement. This is not a blanket statement of all attempts at translation, because what have they been doing this whole time but bashing all of the Catholic translations as horrible, terrible corruptions of the Scriptures? They're talking about the English translations that had come before them, the ones that they were building upon. They are talking exclusively about traditional text type Scriptures. They're saying that, yes, those were the Word of God. Most King James advocates would be willing to say that those foundational Bibles, those early English Bibles, were faithful Bibles, but I don't think this forces our hand to say that any and every English translation is the Word of God. That's a pretty specific designation. That's not something that we should throw around lightly. And here's the key. What did they think they were doing to this translation stream that had come? They were rubbing and polishing it. They were improving it. But also, if anything be halting or superfluous, or not so agreeable to the original, the same may be corrected, and the truth set in place. I like this statement because they put the original as the truth. And part of their process of translation, of examining these Bibles that had come before, was to examine to see whether anything had been added or taken away from the original. This was one of the goals of their translation, a more accurate Bible. Would the translators support the modern versions today? Let's just ask this question. How would they go about evaluating the modern translations of today? Has anything been added? Has anything been taken away from what they considered to be the original? Now, how do we know what they consider to be the original? Well, you have it in your laps. You have the product of their labors. This shining, this rubbing, this improving, this comparing, this taking, this adding, this trying to bring it into subjection to, alignment to, fidelity to what they consider to be the true original Scriptures. This was their goal.